Hello my dears and welcome back to my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon and today I've got a July reading wrap up to share with you guys. I read 9 books in July, which is pretty good in and of itself. But I think 7 of those 9 were either 5 or 4 stars, with 5 stars being the majority of the reads. 4 of them were 5 stars. It was a great month. I don't know if summer's just a great horror month, thriller month, I don't know what it is, but I had amazing reads. And so I'm very excited to share them all with you today. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with the lowest rated. There's 2 3 stars. We're going to get them out of the way because they were fine. They were fine. And then we're going to move on to the best ones. I'm so excited. So let me just scroll here. I got my Goodreads pulled up. The first 3 stars that I read was What Have You Done by Shari Lapena. And this was fine. It was fine. It was about a young girl gets found murdered in a local field. And it kind of becomes a bit of a mystery to find out who did it. And we're looking at, I think, 3 or 4 men in the town who all have some connection to her, some possible reason for wanting to harm her. And we go through who it was. And I found it a little longer than it needed to be. And it was just okay. It was one of those thrillers that, like, I'll remember the premise, but, like, I don't remember who did it. And I didn't read it that long ago. So it's one of those books that's just kind of forgettable, but enjoyable while you're reading it. And another one that kind of falls into that same category that I read this month is, did I read that this month? So the second book there that I was thinking of, I actually read that in June. The one from this month is A Haunt Sweet Home by Sarah Pinsker. And this is about a woman who is lost. Like, she is lost, and she goes to work on a reality show that's sort of a home restoration / ghost hunting show. And she gets the opportunity because her cousin is the host of the show. And so, like I said, she's lost. Like, in every way you can be lost. She's dropped out of college so many times. She doesn't know what she wants to do. She doesn't know who she is. So she goes to work on this show, and she's part of the night crew and part of, like, part of the crew that, like, makes the hauntings happen, because there's not real hauntings happening. And it's about that. And then there is a ghost story in this book, but it's not the one you're expecting. And I did kind of like that sort of subversion of what you think the book is going to be. So this for me was a 3, maybe rounded up to a 3.5. And I really went into it expecting to love it. It's a novella, very short. And I enjoyed it. Like, a 3.5, that's a good rating. And I think it's going to work for a lot of people. I think especially if, like, you're sort of wanting to dip your toe into horror, this would be what I'd call, like, a cozy horror. Very light on the spooks. But it's also a very sad story. I enjoyed it. So, yeah, we'll go with 3.5 for that one. Anyway, moving into the 4 stars. First of all, we've got Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. This is, I was going to say my blank Riley Sager book I've read, but I don't know. I've read a bunch by him. He always puts books out in the summer, which is something fun to look forward to. And this one has a main character named Ethan. This is the first time Riley has made a man the main character in one of his books. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So anyway, Ethan, when he was a little boy, I think 10, he was camping in the backyard with his best friend. And when he wakes up in the morning, his best friend is gone. And so now it's many, many years later, I think like 30 years later, and he's back home in his hometown because his parents have moved and he's sort of staying in the house because he's recently gone through a separation from his wife. And it's a lot of the players who he was friends with back when he was a kid are all also back home or in the neighborhood. And it's just a trying to figure out what happened to him, to his friend. So this was close to being a 5-star for me, but there's just something about it that I didn't love, and I don't want to tell you what it is because it would be kind of a spoiler, but 4 stars. Very good, but Not quite a 5. Let's see, what's the next 4-star here? Oh, yes. I loved this book. Next up, we have A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I loved this so much. It wasn't a 5-star for me quite. I think it was like a 4 or maybe even 4.5. I did love it. The writing is so beautiful in this. It's so beautiful. And it takes place in like a series of letters written, or like a journal written to Dracula from one of his wives. And it goes on to talk about their experiences over hundreds of years and the different people that they meet who kind of join their polyamorous love throughout the years. And I thought it was beautiful. I think it's book 1 in what's going to be a series. And I will definitely be reading those because I ate this up. And I look forward to rereading this, and I feel like when I reread it, I'm going to take my time and sort of go over the beautiful passages, annotate them, and this might end up being a 5 for me on a reread. It kind of feels like that. But I loved it. What else? What's the other 4-star here? Let me see. Oh, Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. This was almost a 5 too. There's been just like a lot of books this month that are almost 5s, but just aren't quite. This is about Bella. She's 8 years old. She lives in a home with her mom and her daddo, and she loves them very much. She's a bit of a loner. Her dad's really her only friend. And we learn very quickly, very early on in the book, that she is being, what's the word? Tormented by a entity that she calls Other Mommy, and Other Mommy wants to be let inside of her. The way Other Mommy words it is she's like, let me into your heart, but Bella's like, no. Nope. And quickly her parents learn about what's going on, and they take it very seriously, which I did love about this. It's not like her parents are like, you wacky kid. They take it seriously, and they do a lot to try to help her through this, and it was good. I liked it a lot. And I think that's it for the 4 stars. Now we're moving right on in to the 5 stars, of which, like I said, there were many. So the first 5-star I read this month was called Unwanted by Mia Sheridan. I went into this knowing nothing about it, and I was so shocked by how much I loved it. This is about a woman, I can't even remember her name, and I don't have the physical copy of the book here with me because it was an ARC. I don't think it's out yet. This woman, she lives in a small town, and there's been a couple murders, and this man ends up being spotted. He's in the woods. He's never lived in town. Like, he's spent his entire life in the woods. And when the police are headed to one of the crime scenes, they sort of see him with a bow and arrow, and they're like, excuse me, what are you doing? And they take him into the police station, which is where they learn, like, he's feral, basically. Like, not really, but, like, basically, he's lived in the woods his entire life. And the woman and the man, they sort of begin a relationship, and they find out that they are tied together in ways neither of them could ever have imagined. And it's a bit of a romance, and it's a mystery. And I was just completely taken with it from beginning to end. I loved it. I loved it so much. And I had no idea going into it. Next up, 5-star is The Night Guest. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce this author's last name. Her first name's Hilder. And this was so good. It's another novella. I had 2 novellas this month. I rarely read novellas. I didn't know they were when I requested them, but loved them. This one's about a woman, and she is struggling. She's very tired. Always. So tired. And she's having trouble sleeping, and when she wakes up, like, her knuckles are bruised. There's blood everywhere. She doesn't know what's going on. She goes to doctors. There's nothing wrong with her, they say. She's going through it. There's a lot going on. Eventually, she starts to wear a Fitbit sort of thing. And when she wakes up in the morning, she's got like 25,000 steps in through the night. And she's like, what in the ever-living shit is happening? And so she starts to track the maps that she's walking at night. And then during the daytime, she goes to these places to see what's going on, to see where she's going. Because every night she's going to the same place. She's just taking different routes to get there. It was crazy. It was crazy. But it was so, so good. Next up, let me see what we have here. Goodreads is acting a fool today. Okay. The next 5-star we had was, this one here, which was a book read for my podcast, THC Library. If you haven't heard of it, it's on Spotify. That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. This is so friggin' fun. It's about a girl named Cinnamon who accidentally stumbles upon a demon named Fallon, and the two of them go on an adventure. It is spicy, it is funny, and it's just so good. And that's really all you need to know. That's all you need to know. If you want to hear me talk about it in depth, you head on over to Spotify. And my final 5-star for the month was my most recent read, and this is Mother Thing by Ainsley Hogarth, and this was so good. This is about a woman. I don't even know how to explain it to you. It's about a woman. Her name is Abby, and her husband's mother just died. She took her own life in their home, which was her home because they're staying with her because she's been struggling with her mental health. And it's her dealing with that. Her husband is struggling after the fact. All Abby wants is to become a mother. Her and her husband, Ralph, they had a traumatic childhood, and she wants to move past their traumas and raise a baby in perfect love and harmony, but she's being haunted, and especially he's being haunted by the ghost of her mother-in-law. I mean, what a nightmare. What a nightmare. I couldn't think of anything worse. It was so good. 5 stars. Loved it. It's a sad story. It's also darkly funny. It's gruesome at parts, but it was so good. It was so good. And there you go, you guys. That's all the books I read in July. What a great month. I can only hope August is just as good. Now, before I go, I want to take a minute here, because a few hours ago, I was on Facebook, and I was scrolling through, your feed as you do, and I saw a post tagged that had one of you guys tagged in it. And it was a post from this woman's daughter, and she had tagged her mom in the post. And this woman's name was Donna. And Donna watched, I don't know if all my videos, but it seemed like it because she commented on many of them. She was often in the comments, and I always looked forward to seeing what she was going to say. And it turns out that Donna passed away a few days ago. At the time of recording, 2 days ago. And even though, I didn't know her except from in the comment section and seeing her posts on Facebook, my goodness, that hit me right in the heart. And I was so sorry to hear it. And that's the thing, you guys, like, when you comment on these videos and, we interact, or even if you just watch these videos, but especially if you comment, because if you're just watching, I don't know, you're out there. But when I see you comment, especially repeatedly, I notice it, and I look for you in the comments, all of you, and I get so excited when I see you. And it feels like I'm talking to friends, and when I'm responding to your comments, it feels like I'm having a chat with a friend. And my goodness, to see that news today, it took the wind out of my sails, and I will surely miss reading her comments, and I hope her family is okay. She, from what I could tell, she wasn't very old, I'd say mid to late 50s, and so I just wanted to take a minute to tell you about Donna, because she was a very sweet woman, and She will be missed. So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I appreciate you. Every single one of you. More than you know. Bye, guys.